This is Andi Purewal, Boxing Social in association with Betfred. I'm delighted to be joined by Australian heavyweight Demsey McKean here in the Matchroom Gym in Romford. Demsey, first and foremost, how are you?
I'm good, mate. Just finished a good training session, so yeah, I'm just looking forward to the next fight.
Obviously, this is the first time we're meeting, so it's good to see the man in the flesh. We've just had a brief chat off camera about your plans from the new year onwards. You've moved over here now, you're back here training in the UK with Tony Sims. Talk to me firstly about that decision and working with Tony.
You know, things are going really well. You know, I'm starting to really showcase these skills as well in sparring. So it's good to see the technique rising and spending a bit of quality time under Tony too. So I made the move over here about 4 months ago to the UK. Obviously I was in camp with AJ, then I was in Portugal in camp with Wyatt, and then I had a fight in America. So I haven't really had that, proper downtime with Tony, but I've spent probably about 5 or 6 weeks with him now. And yeah, it's really starting to show. So it'd be good to see you after a full camp. So.
100%. How are you finding things settling in? Because it's a busy gym. Obviously got John Ryder, Danny Jacobs on February 12th. Kind of Ben's just coming back into the gym now. He's got a big year ahead. We've got a variety of other names which kind of slipping my mind. Felix Cash as well. Yeah, who's getting ready for his own fight. You know, it's a great gym to be a part of, which has had a lot of success in the past few years.
It is, you know, and that's the proof right there. So it goes to show that Tony is a world-class trainer, and some of the prospects that he's kind of bringing to the table as well, and on the Matchroom card. So for me to be kind of surrounded by these guys and, you know, fighting on some of these big cards as well, you know, it's massive and gives me extra drive, obviously, to train alongside these guys, even though they smoke me in all the hill sprints and the track work and all that as well. But, you know, the training's hard, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
You've obviously signed with Matchroom and Eddie Hearn as well, Dempsey. Talk to me about that move and what Eddie's lined up for yourself.
Yeah, so with the contract I'm in, we've got another 2 fights. Obviously, I'm fighting on the Lawrence Okoli card coming up on February 27th at the O2. Fighting a Argentinian Bracamonte for that one, and then we're going to have a nice quick turnaround probably in April again. And then, yeah, we're going to be looking at some really big names as well. We've had a few names thrown at us as well, and they're quite big names. I'm really looking forward to that test. So.
Just going to get a word on Bracamonte. So the British fans will remember him from a fight with Dave Allen a few years ago. That ended up being a war which I don't think anybody expected. Dave Allen didn't expect. Are you expecting a similar style from Bracamonte in that fight? Because, like I said, we all saw what he did with Dave.
Yeah, he gave Dave a tough fight. He was winning that fight, and I think he started to tire out a bit towards the end and probably got stopped. But, you know, I'm a different calibre to Dave Allen. You know, I'm not the stand there and get punched in the face type, you know. So I'm going to be moving around. I'm going to use my boxing. I don't think he's going to really give me too much grief, you know, with my style, you know. So, but I'm looking forward. He's a tough kid. He comes to fight every time, and I'm sure he's going to give me some good rounds. But, you know, it's going to be the same ending, you know, and that's with a KO.
You mentioned you've got an exciting plan beyond that as well. Is there anything else you can tell us about the plan which Eddie's put there in terms of looking towards those world rankings?
Yeah, well, I'm currently rated number 10 in the world of the WBO and number 12 of the IBF. So, you know, after this next fight, it might even, you know, bump me up a little bit more, and then maybe the next fight after that. But, like, I don't like to look past any fights, you know. So I'm looking at Ariel Bracamonte. That's my number 1 plan. You know, obviously Joseph Parker's been thrown in the mix as well. If we can get a big card, Matchroom card out in Australia, maybe me and Joseph Parker could be on that one. You know, we've been in talks for quite some time, but who knows? We'll have to see what happens. You know, it's boxing. Everything changes from time to time. So until we've got a contract in front of us with the name and signs, you know, anything can happen.
Is the Parker fight for yourself, and is that one which is at the top of your list?
Yeah, it is, you know, and you know, he's quite highly rated as well. And at the moment, the heavyweight division is quite held up. You know, with you know, so you're going to be waiting a year, 2 years for a world title fight. So I think Parker kind of knows that. So, yeah, I think he's looking at making the right fights at the right time. I know he turned down the fight with Herkovic too, risks versus rewards. So I think that is definitely a fight that we could make with Parker. I know he would be keen for that, obviously if the money's right and whatnot.
Dempsey, we know Australian boxing could be in for a massive year ahead on the back of George Kambosos' stunning win against Teofimo Lopez last year. There's a lot of buzz about Australian boxing, obviously yourself, you got Ebony Bridges, who the British fans are familiar with, Tim Tszyu as well, Costa Tszyu's son. Some great times and exciting times ahead. Are you looking towards fighting in Australia? Is that the plan for yourself?
Yeah, so obviously, one said he wants to start setting up matchroom shows in Australia. Obviously, he's going to want some local boys and girls to fight on the card as well. Another stablemate of mine, Liam Paro, just got signed with matchroom as well. He's now number 2 with the WBO and 3 with the IBF also. So he's under the Ace Boxing banner promotions, who I'm co-promoted with. So, we got numerous world-rated guys. Another one, Jacob NG, number 6 in the world as well, who I used to train with back on the Gold Coast. Sky Nicholson just got signed. Brock Jarvis as well. Jeff Phoenix boy, so we got a lot of talent coming through, and once Matchroom does start starting up these shows out in Australia, it's going to be good. We're going to be able to showcase the skill and show that us Aussies belong in the big stage.
Demsey, talks about that the boxing scene in Australia, like we've just said, this year could be massive for the country and putting its foot firmly in the door of being a part of big shows. How deep is the talent pool in Australia? Why do you think it's taken so long for maybe it to start to be recognised now?
I think we've always had that talent, but it's just starting to get a bit more popular as well. More coaches, more fighters, obviously sparring, but it just doesn't compare to over here in America. That's why I made the move. I had to take myself out of the comfort zone, come over here. The sparring is second to none. The coaching, the people you're around, the promotions, everything. And plus, Australia was pretty messed up. About 4 months ago when I left, I had to get travel exemptions, government passes to be able to leave the country, the whole lot. So, I was quite inactive. So that's why I made the move over here. And the sparring, you just can't be beat. And I think if you want to kind of progress, you have to kind of take yourself out of Australia and come over here and test yourself against some of the bigger names, which is in America and the UK.
Demsey, we've kind of gone away from that one name you mentioned earlier, Joseph Parker. Just to kind of link back to his victory against Derek Chisora last year, what did you make of his performance in that?
He looked good, he looked good. I thought he probably could have got the stoppage there on numerous times, kind of let him off a little bit, but that's boxing. It's a completely different story when you're in the ring yourself. So he looked good. He looked good doing so. Chisora didn't look like it was the Chisora we normally see. Wasn't coming forward as much, but he could have had an off night, could have been sick, anything could have happened. But it was a good fight. It was entertaining. I was ringside for that one too. So it was a good entertaining fight, that's for sure. And they're always in good fights,
I mean, for yourself, when you looked at that fight, when you looked at Joseph, if the pair of you were to meet, you were to share the ring together, how do you think it would go?
It'd be a good fight. We're a bit more. We're faster heavyweights. We're probably 2 of the fastest heavyweights in the heavyweight division. Similar kind of styles as well. So I've always looked at Joseph as a good fight. Would make a good fight. Nice boxing type of fight. Nice tidy display. But he's definitely beatable. All these guys are beatable. And after sparring, the top guys and the top names and giving some good rounds and the work I'm putting in. So I'm a prospect myself, and I'm going to be a lot of trouble for these heavyweights.
What you mentioned earlier on about how things are being held up a bit at the top of the division. We've just saw Bob Arum's comments a couple of days ago. Eddie Hearn confirming that the Middle East are trying to put an offer together for a Fury Usyk undisputed fight, and that's ongoing. Obviously, you've got the Dillian White Fury stuff going on there for splits, and AJ obviously getting ready for his rematch with Alexander Usyk. What do you make of things at the top of the division with all those 4 names?
It's good, man. Like the guys at the top of the division there, these are a lot of like 50-50 fights as well. It's very entertaining as a kind of fan of boxing as well. But I'm looking at these guys as future opponents, and it's a struggle, and especially for Dillian White. I can only feel for him how much stuffed around, how stuffed around he has been, over the last 3 years even. So it's a struggle, and hopefully they can sort it out and just get these fights pumping out, and hopefully free it up for future fights as well. So if I was in that position, I'd be pretty annoyed and pissed off, mate. That's for sure. So, but it is what it is. You can't do it. This is business. There's money, and when there's that much money involved, no wonder there's things are getting tangled like this. So, so hopefully we can get these fights made, and we can all get some good viewing.
Demsey, obviously you said to me earlier you spent some time out there with AJ in his training camp. How was he looking when you was with him?
He was looking good, sharp and technical. He's always looking good, he's always in good shape, So see if he can get the job done in the rematch if it goes ahead too.
Was you sparring with AJ?
Yes, I was there for the last three weeks of his camp.
Can you just reflect on that sparring with him?
Yeah, I can. It was good sparring, good rounds. Yeah, I saw KD, his camp manager. He was actually watching me spar Daniel Dubois yesterday morning, actually as well. So I saw him. He was with Lawrence Okoli, and he was saying, if they get the rematch with AJ and if it all goes to plan, he wants me back for the full camp. So, so it must have been good rounds if they want me back. So.
I do want to ask you. I know you won't want to say too much, but in that fight with Alexander Usyk, people were surprised by his approach by trying to outbox somebody who many see as one of the best boxers in the world. Going into the rematch, how does he need to approach it as a fellow heavyweight? Somebody who shared the ring with him. I've asked many people this, nobody better than yourself to ask, because like I said, you spent some of part of camp with him. Does he just need to be more aggressive? Is that how he's going to beat Alexander Usyk if he was to fight him next? I
think I know it. He knows it. I think everyone knows it. I think he has to come in with a different approach. You know, you can't go in there and try and box with Usyk. You know, there's not many people that probably could do that. You know, AJ's a big guy. He's 6'6", he's my height. He's built like a bloody unit. You know, so he has to go in there and use his size and his aggression. You know, it's been working for a majority of his career. You know, he's been going out there using his size and aggression and knocking people out. So, like, you can't deter too much from that. So, I think he knows that, and he has to make those adjustmts in the ring, and only he can really do that. You know, obviously, you can get more and new coaches and to kind of help you with that, but you're the only one in that ring, and you're the one that's got to pull that trigger. So,
just final one on yourself for us about the couple guys in the gym. Other fights potentially to happen in Australia for yourself. You know, I've spoken to Kevin Barry about Joe Goodall, Justice Hooney's been mentioned. Are any of those guys of interest to you?
Not really. You know, they're novice in the game. You know, like I think Justice had about 4 or 5 fights. Joe's had 7. You know, so these guys are novices. I'm 20-0, undefeated, signed with Matchroom. I'm number 10 in the world. So why wouldn't these guys want to use my name as Claret to kind of elevate their own names? You know, it's only natural. It's a fight game. I understand that, but I know if I come to the country, they probably wouldn't even want those fights. You know, if it did come down to a contract. So, you know, that's all right. They've got to get their names out there, and that's all there is to it. But at the moment, I'm in a different league, and I'm in a far different league, you know, so.
And just to get on a word on those guys, obviously John Ryder getting ready for his fight with Danny Jacobs on Feb 12th. How's John been looking?
He's been looking good, man. He's fit. Those stair sprints on Seaside, he's smashing them out. He's smoking us all on them. But super fit, super sharp. He's hungry as well. He knows this is a do-or-die fight. So I'm looking forward to being there. And obviously Felix Cash as well. He's looking in great shape too for his first fight in a while. So really looking forward to the boys' fight.
We've got Conor Benn, who's just returning from his holiday. I think he's came back yesterday or the day before or something like that. An exciting year for Conor. He's been built up as a potential future star for British boxing, a highlight reel knockout win against Chris Algieri on the back end of last year. Names like Adrian Broner, Maurice Hooker, Roberto Guerrero being bandied about for his next fight. From what you've seen of Conor, do you see that star potential?
Yeah, 100%. You know, he's obviously got the name. He's got the fan-friendly style. You know, who doesn't want to watch Conor fight? You know, he's got that aggression, the power. You know, coming forward. Yeah, he's eccentric as well. He's got character. You know, so he's a whole package. You know, so it really is starting to open up for him now as well. You know, he's starting to get these bigger names, and you know, if he can put some of these bigger names away, like he done to Chris Algieri, you know, he's only growing. You know, so he's a full package, and good on him.
Demsey, will leave that there now. I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your day. I appreciate your time, mate, and thanks for speaking to me in Boxing Social.
Lovely. Thanks, mate.